Welcome back to the biggest agricultural platform in Namibia known as Duna Wengombe. My name, of course, Mitchell Mutumba Simata, aka the headman of cattle. So today, somebody asked me, Mitch, if you were the Minister of Agriculture, what would you do? So let's get into it. Let me take my farming hat here first. Put it on. How do I look? How do I look? Hey, take a picture, take a picture. I'm kidding. Let's get into this one. If I was the Minister of Agriculture, I'd work on 5 things. These are the 5 things that I'd work on. First things first, red line. I'm sorry, guys. I know many people are going to be like, Mitchell, why are you starting with the red line? But I got to first get into the red line. Red line. First thing I'm going to do working in the red line is trying to improve the animal health status of animals in the northern part of the country by making sure that outbreaks of diseases are becoming few and fair and are also secluded to smaller areas rather than it being an entire region, right? Let's say like if an outbreak happens in Ovambuland, the entire Ovambuland region gets affected. That's something that I'd love to work on. Minimizing outbreaks and improving animal health status of that area. That's the first part. Second thing I'd also do, still being in the red line, is focusing on better monitoring of livestock. Animals need to be monitored better so we know which animals crossed into our neighboring countries, which animals are possibly carriers of certain illnesses, and how do we quarantine these animals. That's what I'd work on towards. And also improve the status, the livestock health status, improve the animal quality, and also just make sure that disease outbreaks are a thing of the past. That would be my biggest celebration when I become the minister and now they've finally gotten rid of the red line. And then from there, I'd start removing it piece by piece. I'd start off in regions where they've never had an outbreak of an illness. We'd start moving it towards regions that are more frequent disease outbreak areas. That's where it would end up. So then that's the first thing. The second thing I would focus on is water, is technologies in water. Things like how to save water. Right now, we're experiencing a flood in the northern part of the country. I'm hearing from back home, the Zambezi, I'm being told that there might be flooding coming also in the Zambezi region. The question needs to be, how do we invest in technologies to be able to store and harvest this water so this water can be utilized for horticulture projects? Because what we're having right now in this country is farmers, particularly the people who practice horticulture, those ones who rely on the rain, are only able to plow their fields in November, December, end of the year. And then throughout the year, they wait for the produce to grow, and then they harvest, and then the field just stays resting. Nothing happens to it. That's something that I'd love to do, break and destroy, by saying that water should be readily available for agri projects and also for human consumption. Clean water and healthy water, of course, for human consumption, and also irrigation systems for these farmers, so these small-scale farmers can be able to keep their lands productive year in, year out. The whole year, the lands should be kept in production, so we can be producing the amount of fresh produce, food, and stuff we need, and cereals that we need in this country, because we import so much from South Africa. And I believe it all goes down to how we store and secure water. I believe our government has gone to the Netherlands numerous of times, sent delegates to the Netherlands to try and go look at how the Netherlands have gotten it right, how they have gotten it right to have so much water year round that the Netherlands can actually plant a whole area. Let's say half of Windhoek is just full of flowers. They're able to do this because they have invested in such technologies. And this is why the Netherlands, if you look on the countries with the biggest production, I think the Netherlands are up there, but it's a small nation. But it is one of the biggest producers of most of the fresh fruit and produce that we eat on earth, because they have invested in water production and have a readily available source of water to be able to do the agricultural businesses that they need to do. So that's something that I'd look at, water. The third thing that I'd look at is technology. How can we harness the power of the internet? How can we harness the power of technology to improve how farming is done today? Because through harnessing the power of the internet, we can do agriculture better. We can know when to plant, how to plant, when's the right time to plant, when is the right time to harvest. All this information will be readily available to us, which means the trial and error is removed. When we have pest outbreaks like the locusts we had, we could deploy drones. Imagine deploying 100 drones, flying over an area, just releasing pesticide, killing all the grasshoppers that were terrorizing farmers on their farms and eating up their grazing, eating up their vegetables and so forth. We can invest in that. So technology is there. We can also invest technologies that can monitor our waters. We can invest in technologies that can cause cloud seeding, that we can actually start creating artificial rain, so we can turn parts of our country which have not received rain in a long while, we can turn them from desert back to green and actually get up the productivity, because that productivity needs to be pushed up. That's what we need. The productivity needs to go, yeah, skyrocket. That's the things that I'd invest in as the Minister of Agriculture in my 5 years that I'm there. Yeah. Okay. Another thing that I'll also look at investing is our land redistribution program, the resettlement farm program. I would sit down and look at the farms the people who have resettled since 1990 till modern day. What have these people done? I would create a body within my own ministry that is the body tasked with doing inspection of land, inspection of agricultural land, what it is being used for by the farmers. If land is being used for the right reasons or land is being spoiled, are people utilizing the farms for the right reasons, or are people just getting farms to go shoot out all the kudus in the springboks and just drink and bring their side chicks there? What are you doing? If you are found that the land inspection board would be told to go to the farms, go to the farms, have a look at what's going there, write a detailed report, take pictures, and send back to me as the minister. If we find that you're in breach of some of the terms and conditions we signed on our lease agreement and you're busy with nonsense, we are taking it back. The same way our parents will do to us when they buy you your first cell phone and you don't appreciate it, you don't take good care of it, they take it back because you are being irresponsible. You're not allowed to have it. You're not ready to own a resettlement farm. That's what I do. I know that will probably get me fired. It might probably get the party that I belong to lose votes, but I'm not here to stoke your egos. I am here to get the agricultural sector going in the right position. The land redistribution thing is something that I'd look at. That is something that I'd look at. And I'd look at it with a keen eye. I'd look at it with a keen eye, like a hawk, like a hawk looking at its prey. I'd look at it that way. Because I wouldn't play around. We're not here to play. And I'd reduce the length of people being resettled on land from 99 years probably to 30. After 30 years, you can buy, or even after 20 years. Or we'll even bring a clause that says you can rent to buy. You probably want to buy it in the near future, and you can put in an offer to us as the owners of the farm, and you buy it. Because I don't believe in the government should own the land. I believe the people should own the land. The land should be owned by the people, as it's supposed to be. The last thing that I'd look at is building a laboratory that is able to produce vaccines locally in this country. I think that's something we need. Because Namibia, through our various agricultural stores, we spend millions, if not billions, on importing medication from outside the country. We import medication from companies like MSD. What's the other one? There's MSD. There's quite. It just slipped my mind. MSD is one. How is it? This MSD is one, which I'm repeating again. Which one? There are a couple of them. There's the Rhodoport. I don't know which. The MSD is one, of course. Verbex is another one. I believe that's also a South African company. There's the big one, which is always making the most medication for us. Who are the people behind Suavet? I mean, Supervax. Okay, let's just say Verbex and MSD, but there's another one. The name is just left my mind now. I did a video talking about them. I did a video talking about this company and some of the things that went and some of those companies that produce the medication. So I'd build companies, or I'd build a company that can do that, whether partnering with a private individual, so we can build a laboratory that is able to produce medication in this country, that is able to produce readily available medication for livestock in this country. Because right now, like I said, we're spending millions, if not billions, on importing medication. The worst case scenario is when we had a foot and mouth disease outbreak in this country. We had to wait for the medications to come from South Africa. When we had a when we had a lung sickness, in bovine lung sickness outbreak in Kavango, we had to import it from Botswana. I think we need to cut that out because we are losing money. Let's rather build laboratories that is able to produce medication of this level here in this country, so we can also be able to export it outwards into the SADC region, because this is another opportunity for us. So that's something that I'd work on. Veterinary science, animal health are things that I'd focus on to build a laboratory that is of that level where we can produce this medication. because I think we need to cut this cord of importing medication from our neighboring countries, because we need medication readily available in this country. God forbid we get hit with a very contagious illness, like probably bovine, like probably cattle mad disease, but that disease hasn't been seen in a minute. But it could make a comeback. So these are the things that I've looked at. And the last one that I've looked at, number 6, as I said, 5 years. Let's say the president's nice enough. He's like, yeah, you're doing a good job. It's giving number 6. The My 5 years, and the president says I'm going to give you another 1 year, so you are 6 years. So on my 6th year, I'd investigate on making Namibia's agriculture being able to compete with South Africa, getting it from what it is right now, because what it is right now is still very primary. It's primary. Getting it from primary, secondary, getting it from primary, secondary, and on the third degree. That's what we need to get. We are still on the primary, which means we plant the maize. We don't really turn the maize into things. We do here and there, we turn it into flour. I think we still need to go a bit further. We need to take maize and be able to turn it into all the products that are needed. We need to take animal body parts, the meat we eat, what is left, and turn it into things that are needed. So I think it's to get our agriculture from it being just primary producer of maize to it being a primary producer and a turner of maize into corn and a turn of corn into popcorn. That's what I want to move to. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to bring. Industrializing the agricultural sector, the same way the South African agricultural sector is industrialized. This is why South Africa today, not under this current government, but if the government really just puts the money where their mouth is, right now, if South Africa is hit with sanctions, South Africa will still be able to survive. Because why? They are still able to produce everything they eat in South Africa. Even so much so that we are eating food from South Africa in our shops. Wellington tomato sauce, baked beans, Miami baked beans, or Miami chakalaka. This is a South African brand. We're eating these things here. So I would want to get the Namibian agricultural sector to that level, where it is no more just primary, but it's at an industrial level. That's what I'd work towards. And after that, I've achieved that within my 6 years of being minister. I will happily resign without any, even if the president's like, no, man, no, we need to keep you again. You did a good job. I'll be like, no, Mr. President, thank you very much. I'm honored, but I think it's time for me to leave the stage. As they say, a good dancer knows when to leave. Or as one of my favorite quotes go, that if a superhero lives long enough, he will end up becoming the villain. I think something along that line. I don't know. But no, but like I said, a good dancer knows when to leave the stage. Know when it's your time to go. I can't be there becoming redundant and I'm starting to commit nonsense. Oh, number 6 is, what did I say I'm going to do? Number 6, industrialization and fixing the agricultural parastatals. They need to be fixed also. NITCO, AMTA, AgriBiz Dev, I'll probably bring that back, bring other parastatals that I think that are needed and revive them and bring them back to their powers to their powers where they need to be. Because I believe only by getting this and getting Namibia's agricultural level to industrial levels, then we can really talk about reducing poverty and also pulling up the other sectors. Because once the agricultural sector stands, the other sectors will also be able to stand with it. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I would do when I am the Minister of Agriculture. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say, have yourself a good night. Bye for now.